Welcome back, everybody, to the, 99th episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I just want to say congratulations to me for making it to 99 episodes. I believe, I haven't fully checked this, I have to check the history books. I believe this is the first podcast to ever do it, to ever make it to 99 episodes. Don't look too hard into that. Hey, I know I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure no other podcast in the history of the platform, in the history of the medium, has ever made it to 99 episodes. So really, this is a historic feat. I would like to be brought on to really whatever the hip kind of daytime talk show is. I feel like for a while, especially when I was younger, any kid that went viral was, you'd go on Ellen, and I think before that you would go on Oprah. So where do we go now? I don't know. If someone could please direct me to the show in which I can receive not only the accolades I deserve, but then also some sort of I guess they would sometimes give you a college fund or a trip to Disneyland. I'll take that. I'm not particularly a Disney adult. Actually, no, I'm not a Disney adult at all. For anyone that doesn't know, there is a large community of adults who like going to Disneyland, and they get the headbands, and they get the, what else is Disneyland staple? You get the autograph book where Mickey signs. Okay, I have questions about this, but where Mickey signs your book, you get that pamphlet. I don't know if they still have these, but you could crush pennies. Those machines where you put the penny in, and then it you pick the design you want, and it's Donald Duck on a penny. I can't remember if you had to pay, if the penny was the payment, or if you had to put a quarter in and then put your penny in. I can't remember. I have not been to Disneyland in a very long time, and do not have any plans to go, but I don't have plans not to go. If I again go on to whatever the daytime talk show of the time is, and that's what they offer me. I guess I'm going to be a Disney adult for the day. I don't know, but I would love for the next guest we have on the Nobody Asked for This podcast to be a probably former Disneyland or Disney World or Disney whatever chapter of the Disney franchise amusement park land. That wasn't a real sentence, but I would like someone who was an actor at Disneyland to come on and just tell me what it is. I want to know the break room situation. Are there just people's, you take off your goofy helmet and then just put it on the table next to your turkey sandwich? I want to know, is there school before? Do you have to do a training course? I'd love to know what they teach you in terms of boundaries even. Can you just run up to someone and give them a hug? Because I feel that's creepy. I would assume you have to wait, and then are we doing more of a side hug? You know what I mean? There's got to be, I hope there's policies and practices. And then just how much does that pay? Are these people that are hoping to get on Disney shows? Are they hoping that Walt Jr. Did Walt Disney have kids? Are they hoping Walt Jr. is going to be in the office that day and be yes, Cinderella number 4, I have the perfect show for you? I just want to know the whole thing. I want to know are you taught okay, if you're being Mickey, you have to sign the autograph book this particular way, because then what if you go twice and one Mickey signed it one way and the other Mickey signed it the other way? And I also can't fully remember, how do they hold a pen to sign the autograph book? For anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, you can buy at Disneyland probably for $50, it's just a notebook or whatever, and you can bring it up to all of the Disney characters, and then they can sign your notebook. I can't specifically remember if you had to buy the $50 notebook or if you could just hand them a piece of paper. They probably only touch Disney stationery, Disney letterhead. But yeah, I can't specifically remember how they signed the book if you're have a Goofy or a Mickey glove on, but they figured it out. And listen, I respect the art. Like, you have to do what you have to do. I would just love to speak to someone who that was their profession. Also, is it more of like a program? Like, do you do, like, does like the local drama school just like here, go do a practicum at Disney, you know, do a semester of Disney and we'll give you 3 credits? Because it also is one of those jobs where, like, it sounds really cool, and then you think about the logistics of, like, you're in a costume in, like, 100-degree weather, 40-degree weather, Celsius Fahrenheit. It's, like, just sweating. You probably can't really sit down, because, like, there can't be, like, Mickey in the background. Like, you're doing, like, meet and greets, essentially, just over and over again. You can't walk anywhere without someone stopping you and saying, hi, can I have a picture, can I have a photo? Like, ooh. Listen, I better get used to this, because I'm pretty sure by the time I hit 100 episodes, being next week, I'm going to be globally famous. So that's going to be my existence. I'm not going to be able to walk around, you know, my spots, my local mall, without autographs and pictures, and yeah. So I could really use some advice. If anyone used to be a Disneyland worker, let me know. But regardless of my notoriety or fame that may or may not come, I will continue to do the Nobody Asked for This podcast, so you don't have to worry about that. Everyone I know there's a lot of rumors, like, well, when he hits 100 episodes, like, you know, like, he's probably going to be really rich, and it's like, well, will he need the money from this podcast? You know, that doesn't make any money, because there's no one cares, in fine print. But, yeah, of course I'll still be here. Of course. Hey, 99, let's make it 99 more. How funny would that be if after all of this chatter of, you know, we're 10 away from 100, we're 9 away from 100, we're 8 away from 100, if I just, like, this was it. If this is a lie, I never did 100th episode. No, I have to. And I actually, not to brag, I don't really, if you couldn't tell, don't put a lot of, I don't want to say thought. I'm going to say I don't prepare necessarily for these episodes, but I have some ideas percolating for the 100th episode. Now, the problem is I have all these ideas, and then it's the night before, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I have no time. Oops. There's always 101. So, fingers crossed I can make something work. But yeah, I'm excited. Other than that, I'm just sitting here, you know, in the vehicle, as I do. It's May. We've made it to May, which is kind of nuts. I heard, or I had something, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's going to be, you know, May 11th. And I was like, oh, perfect, I have 2 months. No, apparently that's like, it's happening. It's like 2 weeks away. So, I don't really know what to make of that. Cause like I'm pretty sure it was just Christmas, and now it's already 4 months have passed. In fact, we're about 4 months away from all the pumpkins coming back, which I have to say, I thought of that the other day, and that made me very excited, because in my head I hear that as okay, we're 2 months away from it being 2 months away from the pumpkins, and then when we are 2 months away from it being the pumpkins, we're a full 2 months away from the 4 months away, which means that's half the time that's going to take to do the full 4 months. So that's the deck of cards I'm playing with, but I'm just very excited. You know, we still have to get through the summer, though. I think what I want to do is every summer, or every winter, I think of, I'm going to do this in the summer, I'm going to do that in the summer. I really want to put together, like, a list. Like, this is my list. And sometimes, like, actual, like, summer when it's hot, at least where I am, isn't very long, but I'm going to extend it. Like I'm going to do, like, Memorial Day rules. So, like, May 20 whatever to Labor Day. Like that, or honestly, till the first day of fall. Like, that will be my summer, and I'm going to have a list. Maybe we can do, like, a list of 10 things, and we're going to cross them off. Now, number 1 on this list, for many reasons, is going to be Red Lobster. I got to get to a Red Lobster, most importantly because I heard a rumor that they are going bankrupt, and it's just not going to work for me. Well, actually, let me try the food first, and then I'll get back to you on that. But I have been wanting to go to Red Lobster for years. I've had, not to brag, I've had the biscuits, because they sell the biscuits in the grocery store, like, as a mix. So I did get out my cooking skills, get out my like KitchenAid mixer, not the regular like whisk attachment. I got the dough hook and all, and made Cheddar Bay biscuits. And now I haven't done this since high school, so maybe I'll do like whip up another batch in honor of hopefully what will be my summer trip to Red Lobster. And then I'll come back and of course do a full recap. So there's not a date plan for that, but that is like number one on the list. Most importantly, because this might be my last opportunity. I heard a rumor, like I was saying, that they're closing, but more specifically that they're closing because I guess they have some sort of like all-you-can-eat shrimp option. Now, I don't know if this is similar to the Olive Garden Pasta Pass, where it's like you get a year of pasta for free, you get like one pasta a week for free or something. I can't remember the exact details of that, but I guess Red Lobster has a similar setup. And they're just giving away too much free fish to the point where like they've bankrupted themselves, which is not funny. It's not funny, but it's like, yikes. But that totally, like, I feel sympathy because that would totally be me as a business owner. I'd be like, these are the prices. And then someone would come in and they'd be like, well, can we get a bit cheaper? Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Oh, for you? Anything. And then the next customer, oh, you know what? You need it a bit cheaper. You go for it. And then by the 10th person, I'm out of shrimp and I have no money. So, I think to the Red Lobster people, maybe do some onboarding of people that are like, no, you could not have more shrimp. Just an idea. I could be a consultant. I would love for that to be my job title. Now, I'm sure consultants work very hard. I'm sure, I'm sure they're very necessary. But anytime I hear like, oh, I work for a consulting firm, I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know what that means. Now, again, no hate to the profession. I'm sure consultants, we need them. We need people that kind of, we need opinions that are experienced and backed by research and stuff. I feel like people such as myself just give their opinions and it's like more based on feeling. Like how I said that the Olive Garden Pasta Pass was you got a free pasta a week. Like I don't know that to be fact, but I just kind of said it like it was. So we need people unlike that who have like researched opinions. But I actually don't remember why I started talking about consulting, but because they needed to stop giving away free shrimp. Yes, there we go. So that would be my advice. My advice to Red Lobster would be get some advice. It sounds like you need it. But please, 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 please. 1, wishing you the best, but 2, please let me get down there before it's too late. I have to book that now. I almost, fun fact, during COVID, with a friend, almost flew to a different province. Not like peak COVID, but like, do you know when like things started opening and flights were back and they were like cheap? I almost, now everything, and then it got very expensive very quickly, but while it was cheap, I was like, I could just fly to the next province over for Red Lobster and not have to pay for a hotel because I would just go back the next day, like in the same day. And like, I was never fully going to do that. Like I never made it to like flights.com or whatever, or however one books a flight. I never actually did that. But I like thought about it to the point where I realized like, oh, I'm not kidding. Like, when you have like a funny idea with like a friend or even yourself and you're like, it gets just like a little bit too far and you're like, oh, I was really going to do that. And like, even thinking about it now, like, I think I still would do that if for nothing but the story, and some Cheddar Bay biscuits. It's probably worth it. Okay, so that's number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list is I would like to go to the Cheesecake Factory. Now, this list wasn't supposed to be, chain restaurants I want to visit this summer, but for whatever reason, with me, like, it kind of just becomes that. So I would like to go to the Cheesecake Factory. I've been to the Cheesecake Factory. Okay, I've been at a Cheesecake Factory. The lineup was too long, so I wasn't able to eat the food part of the Cheesecake Factory, but I guess they have like kind of at the front or like the side of the store, like they had, it looked almost like a bakery where you could get the cheesecakes. So I've had the Cheesecake Factory cheesecake and it was very good, and now I would like to try the Cheesecake Factory food. I've seen a picture of the menu, and it is thick enough that I think I would add it. I would definitely be adding it to my Goodreads goal. I will be bringing my reading light, a bookmark, just in case I lost my place, and really, maybe like a nice cup of tea. I guess I wouldn't have to bring that. They could provide that part. But yeah, and it looks like the food looks like kind of like Red Robin, where they have so many options that like you can't expect everything to be great, but like nothing's bad. You know, like there's like so many different types of food that like you get a pasta, you could get a burger, you could get a chicken strips, you know, like there's options, and that's what I like. You have to just provide options, and I'll be happy. Although luckily, if you couldn't tell, I'm not a picky eater. Like I'll kind of eat anything, and I have not the best taste buds. I didn't before COVID, but then for some reason after I got COVID, which it's been 2 years, I swear, and I don't know if I'm just a bit, but like I swear I can't taste as well, because I did lose my taste mid COVID battle. It was sort of like a sleeper symptom. Like I had the first couple of days. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't have to do that thing with the orange and the brown sugar, which kind of sounded delicious. Like I would have done it. Was this like a universal thing, or did someone just tell me this, that when you lost your taste from COVID, which obviously sucks, like if you put like an orange and brown sugar like on the stove and then ate it while it was hot, which like ouch, it would like reinvigorate your taste buds. I don't know who figured that out, but again, probably some sort of medical consultant. Genius. And I actually heard that it did work. But then for some reason when I lost, I don't think I ever did that when I lost my taste. Because then it came back fairly quickly. But I feel like not fully. So I just put like so much hot sauce on everything I eat now, because I just need to taste something. But then also like I've never really had a great sense of smell. My vision is very good, thankfully. So then I'm like, well, maybe that's like the sense that that is not as strong, you know? But I don't know. And anytime I Google anything, it always tells me like, don't even bother trying, like that's it, like start making amends. I'm like, no, this is not what I wanted to hear today. When I Googled like how to fix a headache, you know? It's like so negative. Talk about a medical consultant. Google, I'm firing you as my medical consultant, which probably doctors would agree with that choice, but it just gets a little much, which to be fair, like everything is kind of a symptom of everything. So like if you just say headache, like yes, it could be bad and it could be drink water. But for whatever reason, like drink water is never at the top. It's like more scrolling towards the bottom. Like that first box, which we love to talk about, and truly is like another co-host of the show, is that box where when you Google something, like you don't even have to click the articles anymore, like it just comes up at the top. But that box it's a bit of an alarmist. I wonder if you can pay to like have your article be the one that fits up in the box, but then would you even want that? Because then you don't get the person clicking. Like I said, you don't have to click the article anymore. So like if your information from your website is just on the box, do you then lose like website clicks? I don't know. It's something I've always wondered. Something else I've always wondered, how does Netflix make money? They're always making shows and it's like the budget was $200 million, or like this person got a $50 million Netflix contract or whatever. Like, where does the money come from? Like when I sign up to Netflix, how much money, I guess let's start from within. How much money do I give Netflix a year? Probably like, what is it? I was going to say it's $10 a year, but I think it's like, a month. It's probably closer to 20. So even if it is 20 times 12. Okay, yikes. $240 a year. But like, that's not even a fraction of $1 million. So like, let's say $240 a year. How many subscribers does Netflix have? Has 269.6 million. Okay. So let's do the math. If everyone's paying, you know what? Let's even round it up. Let's say everyone's paying $250 a year times 250 million. That is, okay, that equals, oh, okay, never mind. That's $62 billion. I guess that's how they make their money. It just, for whatever reason, didn't feel as much. But it probably takes, it probably costs about that. Let me Google Netflix operating costs. Because to be fair, before they hired the people that I think Red Lobster should hire now, or maybe not should, but needs to hire now if they want to not go bankrupt, before those consultants came on board at Netflix and everyone was just sharing their passwords, like, there's no way there were 26.9, no, 290, I don't know why this is such a hard number for me to say, 269.6 million subscribers, I don't know. But before they made it hard to share passwords, everyone was, like, using the same account. So, like, there was no way they were making in the billions of dollars. And I feel like they just kind of spend frivolously. So I would just like to know, I would like to see a breakdown of the financials of Netflix. That's all I'm asking. I don't ask for much. I would like a interview with someone who used to work at Disneyland, specifically used to work at Disneyland as a actor, Mickey Mouse, whatever. And then I would also like an interview with someone from the finance team of Netflix. Like, I just want to know, like, how are we? Are we in good standing? They must be, but, like, I don't understand, like, where they get, like, does it matter to them how many people watch? Because, like, I gotta be honest, I've paid my Netflix thing the last couple months. I can't tell you that I've watched one single minute of Netflix content. So, like, does it almost not matter to them if their shows do well or not? Because, like, if you're just paying the money, like, if their money comes from subscriptions, like, I guess that's more my question is, like, how do they make more money than what they would normally make if people were subscribing? And if they don't make more money based on how popular their shows are, like, what is the point in putting millions and millions of dollars into making these, like, huge shows when, you know, you could probably lower the bar and it wouldn't make people cancel, if that makes sense? Like, is it just do they make these, like, millions and millions of dollars of shows to, like, encourage people to stay subscribed and then they get their 60-something billion or $6 billion? Or what was it, 60? Yeah, 6.2 billion. I don't know. This is just... It's so hard to be in business, you know? Just kind of analyzing and... that's the other job I want to do. I want to be a consultant and then I want to be an analyst. And I feel as though the past 23 minutes of this podcast have been a very good argument for why I should be both. So, if any firms are looking for... I'll even do, like, not intern, but, like, paid intern. I'll be, like, junior level... You know, whatever you need, as long as you're okay with, like, openly exploring my findings on the Nobody Asked for This podcast. Like, obviously don't send me to work on anything confidential, but if it's alright that I, you know, openly discuss it with actually, I probably could talk about confidential things on this podcast because, again, no one listens, so it's, like, kind of the best of both worlds. So if any firms want to reach out, you just go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com, and I believe there is some sort of a something on there. If you're smart and a consulting firm or what's the other one I'm going to work at? Not marketing, consulting, and analyzing firm, I'm sure you could figure out how to get a message to me. YouTube comment, whatever works best. Okay. See, this would be a perfect spot for a commercial break. So if you or anyone you know has a company in which they would like me to promote on the show in exchange for a monetary fee, or like some sort of, maybe one of those like influencer retreat, influencer vacation type things where they're like in Belize, you know, on the beach, let me know, because then this would be a perfect spot to add that type of advertisement. And let me just tell you, I will advertise whatever will pay, really. I mean, obviously, there are certain things that, like, you know, I just feel like anytime I say, I'll do anything, people are like, well, what about this? It's like, well, no. But, like, within reason, sure. You have a milkshake business? Let's do it. You have a, Instagram cupcake shop? Let's go. Your aunt makes really good chicken salad and wants to sell it? Like, sure. I'll advertise. But unfortunately, no. I do not have an ad break here. But let's pretend that there was one. I actually, when I was doing a strategy meeting for the Nobody Asked for This podcast, which clearly has not worked, I was thinking, like, I'll just do ads for companies that didn't ask me to, and then it almost looks like you're doing an ad. Like, I feel like every once in a while, and I don't really go on Instagram much, but I'll see something, and it looks like the person who's, like, a story I'm watching, it looks almost like they were sponsored, but, like, nowhere in the post you get, like, a promo code or, like, an ad. Like, they just tagged a brand that they were wearing or eating or whatever. And it makes it look like, oh my gosh, this person's so professional. This person is an influencer. This person is influential. And it's like, oh no, they just went to, Tim Hortons and, like, bought an ice cap. And it made it look like they were sponsored when they weren't. And you know what? They almost had me fooled. Speaking of had me fooled, I was watching a hockey game. And you know how when you're watching a hockey game on TV, and in real life, but specifically on TV, they have the rink is like, I don't know any terminology, but like the ring around the rosy, the ring around the rink, which will be the name of this podcast, because I realized I hadn't really thought of one yet. Ring around the rink. Gotta write that one down. But the ring around the rink has ads, and it has like logos and sometimes like the slogan of a company, so that while you're watching the game, you think, wow, I really want, Pizza Hut or whatever. Let's get Pizza Hut. Very recently, I noticed that those things changed. And in my head, I was like, oh, so it's probably a screen that goes around the ring around the rink, and the screen probably changes. That makes sense. Like, okay, not new technology there. Like, it's pretty much a phone. And then I found out that it's actually not a screen. It's like a 3D, not 3D, what is the word? Not AI. It's like essentially a green screen, but like it's not green in real life. But it's essentially a green screen that projects different ads that change throughout not only the course of the game, but from telecast to telecast. Who am I, a professional, saying the word telecast? But like, let's say you're watching a game where it's, Toronto playing against, I don't know, what's another team? Toronto playing against, what's an American team? Boston, sure. I actually don't know if in the leagues that could happen, because they're both pretty East Coast, but let's just pretend it's Toronto and Boston. What you'll get on the Toronto feed are different ads than what you get in the Boston feeds, because they're completely different countries. So, and I just thought that was fascinating. And I can usually tell, like, if something's been edited or something's been glitched. My biggest example is on The Bachelor. Like, all reality shows, but specifically The Bachelor. I feel like, do you know how in TV, like, you'll be watching the scene or whatever, and then it cuts to, like, the confessional of the person? Sometimes it'll cut back to the scene, and you can still hear the confessional of the person. So you're not seeing their mouth move, but you're hearing words. I can always tell when they've taken a sentence that was like from 3 episodes ago and like just put it back into the scene to basically confuse and gaslight the viewers. So they'll like take a sentence that someone said and take it out of context and apply it to a situation. Basically, they do what I did when I was writing essays, and I would just take like a sentence from the textbook, throw it in the essay, twist it to make it prove my point, and then just cross my fingers that no one noticed. And honestly, B every time. If I tried really hard on a paper, I got a B. If I did it all the night before, which was most of the time, I got a B. So really, what was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to try really hard because I was going to get the same outcome whether or not I did? So I'm here to tell you, moral of the story, don't try. Well, no, you should try, but like try, know your limit, play within it, try within reason. Try within, what's the thing in court, like beyond a reasonable doubt, do that. That sounds like a good plan. I want to thank you all if you're there, if you can hear, if anyone's hearing this, I want to thank you for listening to the 99th episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I want to remind you that next week is our 100th episode extravaganza. There will be something happening. Should I get balloons? 100. There'll be something. It'll be some sort of a special episode. I might record it like what if I record it on an actual microphone and not my, what is this called? Not my phone. Wouldn't that be a time? I'm really going to consider it. I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm really going to consider it. But in the meantime, if you want to catch up on episodes in anticipation of the 100th episode, you can go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. On there, you can just listen to the episodes straight off the website, or you can find the links to our Spotify podcast, Amazon, this, that, the other. We are technically on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, technically on TikTok, it still exists. Not active at all on those. So like maybe we'll just let those sort of, I can only put up so much content on the internet. Calm down, content. But I can only put up so many things on the internet that I know really like no one will see before it starts to get a little bit like what's happening here. So I've really kind of let it go with the social media. But hey, I'll be here. Almost 100 episodes. Knock on wood that we make it. I'm pretty sure this is plastic, but whatever. And yeah, I hope you all have a great weekend. An even better start of your week next week. And a great life. Live, laugh, love. Goodbye. Okay, we're like 3 seconds away from making it to 32 minutes and even number. Okay, bye.